Hello, dear friends. This is Jeannie from Metal Dollhouse Rescue. Welcome back to my workshop. I am starting a new project tonight, and I'm super excited to share it with you and to let you know what house we're going to be working on. But before I do that, I've got two special things I want to share with you. I have gotten two surprise Christmas gifts that have come late, and I want to share them with you. Now, I have not opened these up yet, and both of them have a story. First of all, I'm going to show you the packages. Here's the first one, and the second one is wrapped, and it looks like this. And both of these have a real sweet story with them. So let me tell you the story about this one first, and then we'll open it up together. Now, I had a dear friend. Her name was Beth, and she and I started doll collecting together as near as I can remember, maybe 1989. And she was one of those friends where we'd go to doll shows together, and we would compare notes, and we'd help find the very best, cutest dolls for each other, and shared that experience. And we both became very active doll collectors. And many of these dolls behind me were collected during that time when Beth and I were avid doll collectors and collected things together. We both love Chatty Cathy, and some of these Chatty Cathys have come to me from my dear friend Beth. Now, unfortunately, Beth passed away about 5 years ago, and I will always miss her and love her dearly. She was just a wonderful woman. But recently, her daughter, Mandy, contacted me and said, I've got one of my dolls that was in my mom's doll collection, and I wanted to know if you'd love to have it. I said, of course I would love to have it. Anything from my dear friend Beth, I would just always cherish, love and cherish and appreciate. So she dropped it off recently. Now, I remember when my friend Mandy was born. I mean, she's, enough younger than me. I remember the day she was born. And I remember when her beautiful daughter Claire was born. And recently, Mandy and Claire dropped this package off. And this is the first I've actually opened this up to take a look at this beautiful doll from my friend Beth. Oh, she is just gorgeous. Look at how beautiful she is. Now, the type of doll I'm most familiar with are from my childhood, like 1950s and 1960s. This doll is clearly older than that. She is just gorgeous. I don't know enough about this age of dolls to know anything about her value. I can tell you her dress is probably original. Her hat's probably a replacement. I imagine her wig has been replaced too. But she is just a really pretty doll, and I love her and cherish her and will keep her in my collection forever. So I want to give a shout out to my dear friend Mandy, who I continue to love like a daughter, and her precious daughter Claire, who's my dear friend's granddaughter. And I just love both of you so much, and I love this doll, and I will always love her and cherish her. Thank you so much. Here's my second surprise package. Now this, it says right on it, it says from Grace to Grandma Jeannie. Now, Grace is one of my precious granddaughters, and she's the one that her and her sister, and actually Grace's boyfriend, were the ones that hid the babies around my house recently. So she's kind of into this, helping Grandma out with the fun things for her dollhouse. So here's the story with this. She let on recently that her and her boyfriend had visited a local antique store that is not very far from us, a big, beautiful store called the Brass Armadillo. So I suspect that that's where this came from. But she bought things there for my dollhouse on purpose that I could share this with you and open with this with you online on my video. I do not know what's in this package other than it pertains to my dollhouse hobby. So let's see what she picked out for me with the help of her boyfriend, Trenton. So let me give a shout out to Grace and to Trenton, and we'll see what's in this pretty package. Here we go. I have got the best kids and grandkids in the world. Now this says surprise box on it. Let's see what it was that tempted them to give me for this very special gift that I am opening and sharing with you. Again, I have really no idea what is in here. It could be anything. But I think it's super fun that they thought of me. I'm telling you, I've got the best friends in the world and the very best grandkids too. That is a really pretty box. Look at everything is individually wrapped. How fun is that? This is truly like Christmas. Well, you got to be careful because you don't know what it could be. Oh, so cute, so sweet. I love it. Look at there. It's a little wooden table. It could be a dining room table in Grandma's house, or if I had a bigger house going on, which I am working on a bigger wooden house, that could be actually a side table or end table in that house. So that could work either way. Oh, this is perfect too. This is a really cute, oh, I love it. Look, it says Grandma, and it's a rocking chair, and it's got like a needlepoint pillow on it. Isn't that just precious? Now, I don't know, can you guys see Grandma up here in her house? You probably can't. Let's get her on camera. There, I moved Grandma over to her kitchen so that you can see her up there watching me. Grandma is in love with that. Let's see what this one is. I'm telling you, this is just the most thoughtful and fun thing. I cannot believe they would do that, those kids. Oh, cute. This goes back to my love of dolls, my doll collection. How sweet is that? Now, this sweet little doll, you know, we used to call these sometimes like storybook dolls back in when I was young. Sometimes you could get them like at the grocery store, the dime store. This one looks like she might be some sort of like a little international one, or maybe a nun. She's got a scarf on her head. She is really pretty. And I told you I am working on a bigger wooden house, and she will be perfect for that size house. Let's see what this is. Those kids, I can just only imagine them going through. Oh, until you see this. Oh, that is what I call stinking cute. Now this is probably, it says Madame Alexander Doll Company, Cinderella, 1995, 1996 Hallmark card. So that is like a Hallmark ornament. But she is perfect for my grandma's house. Look at that. She looks like a very fancy little granddaughter, which my granddaughters are all beautiful. Very well could be like a replica of my actual granddaughters. Let's see what this is. Oh, so sweet. Another little doll with a little white dress. She's actually got like little angel wings. But she could be in my Christmas house as an angel, or she could be like a little girl wearing an angel costume, or maybe I'd even consider taking those wings off and just let her be a little girl in my dollhouse. Again, she's a beautiful, beautiful size. Got two more to open. Oh, this is perfect too. Another little chair. Super, super cute. This has been so fun and so thoughtful. Got two more to open. Matching chairs. Cool. Grandma loves it. Grandma Jeannie loves it, and Grandma in my dollhouse love it too. And one more to open. Oh, this is cute. Look at a little, it looks almost like a little tiny grandma. Oh, that is just stinking cute. I love that. And that's probably like a miniature, I would say almost a Hallmark ornament too, of some sort. Super, super cute. I am in love with all of these things. And these will find homes in my dollhouses. And a great big shout out to my granddaughter Grace, her friend Trenton, my granddaughter Millie, and my other grandkids who are all equally precious to me, as well as a reminder, my dear friend Mandy and her daughter Claire. You guys have truly all made my day. Okay, let's get to work on my project. Wait till you see what we're doing tonight. I heard recently that in our dollhouse group, January is going to be Rosewood Manor month. Well, I do have a Rosewood Manor that I have never put together. So let's get it put together. It needs a little paint touch up. This house is in pretty good shape. You'll see the base of it needs a little paint touch up, otherwise not too much needed. So first we're going to clean it, and as I clean it, I'll assess it and pull out the pieces that need some paint touch up, and then we'll get the paint done, and then of course, I will photograph it off a camera, and then we'll get it assembled, and hopefully I'll have it ready to share in January as part of our Rosewood Manor month. So look at the beautiful, beautiful graphics. They're just so pastel, a lot of like pinks, maybe some light blue. This house is not very dirty, so I'm going to wash it off with rubbing alcohol. That may be all I do to it as far as cleaning. We'll do something more if we need to, but I think that's all it's going to take. But look how beautiful those dainty graphics are. I just love this house. It's no wonder it's kind of a favorite amongst doll collectors. Let's get it cleaned up. I'll be talking a little bit more about the history of this house as we work on it. I cleaned everything with rubbing alcohol. And then a couple of spots I thought could use some other cleaner on it. So I got out my Spray 9 cleaner. Now you can use 409 cleaner or Awesome cleaner. You want something that's kind of got a low sudsing cleaning to it. This is a heavy duty cleaner degreaser that I like to use. And I went ahead and cleaned a few areas, and when I did, I could tell I was kind of getting some yellow off of there, like maybe nicotine. So I have gone over the whole thing again with that cleaner. There were a few little stubborn spots that wanted to be cleaned, but basically I'm glad I went over it to get rid of that. I did not know there was a yellow film on there, but apparently there was because it came off on my rag. So now it's as clean as it can be, and it's always a good idea to do this when it's apart because that way you can get to all the nooks and crannies. So I am really glad I took the time to do that extra step. But just as I thought, the house is in very good shape. There are a few little places I'm going to try to straighten some bends out. Up here it's got a little bit of a bend right there. I'll probably try to straighten that out. This lip is kind of bent down. We'll get some pliers on there, see if we can lift that up just a little bit. Almost every piece has got maybe a dot or two, or I might put a little dot of paint like right up in here. There's a little spot there that could use a little dot, and right there again, because I have it apart, I'm going to go ahead and mix up some Dollhouse white, which is an off-white. Down here's a spot, might be a little pinkish. I'll go ahead and get that fixed up too. All those little tiny dots, I'll just go through and touch all those up. But that's going to be it. The base of it needs to be straightened out, and that is going to take the most paint. So let's get that base out and take a look at it, talk about how we're going to straighten it, and also show you the paint damage that's on it. So here's the base, and here you'll be able to see what I'm talking about where it's bent here. So I'll put my hardwood under there, and then I'll take my hammer, or I may turn it upside like this. Yeah, put the hardwood there, and then I'll hammer down on that, right on the edge, to straighten that out. And the same thing on this side, I believe. Yeah, it's got a little bend there too, so we'll do the same thing there. And then you can see this floor has several areas that are going to have to be touched up. And these are right along where the walls join it. So a lot of that will be covered up by the bottom of the wall. But I won't take any chances. I will cover all of that up. I may not spend a lot of time on it because I really don't think it'd show. But at least up here at the edge where you might see that peeking out from under the wall, definitely that will all be covered. Probably just with a Dollhouse white. Now this is a little raised. I might sand that just a little bit, try to get it down a little smoother than that. But it won't take a lot of effort because it's these areas back to the edge that don't really show anyways. The part out in the middle is in pretty good shape. Although there's a few little light places of corrosion, I'll probably just touch my paintbrush too. So I think this is going to be a pretty easy fix. Now I did not get the roof out yet. I keep my roofs that are not assembled all in a pile up on a tall shelf. And I haven't gotten this one out yet tonight to look at it. As I recall, it's in pretty good shape. It might have a dent in it. I don't think that it needs paint touch-up very bad, but it might have a dent that needs straightened out. But we'll be getting that down within the next day or two and take a look at it. But for tonight, I think I'll get this straightened out and use my pliers on a few other pieces that have a few little bends in them. And then it'll be ready to paint, which I probably won't do tonight. I'll probably wait and do it tomorrow night. All right, I love to show you this technique, and I've showed you before, but I love showing it to you because it just shows you how easy it is when you have these houses, especially one like this. It's really, it's got a little bit of rust and issues on it, but it's going to be a beautiful house when it's done, and show you how easy it is to get some of these bins out of them. It doesn't take a lot of effort or tools. I use a piece of hardwood floor. This is left over from when we put our living room floor in, but you could use a 2x4 or any other little stout piece of wood or something that's pretty sturdy like that. And you just put it underneath, and then I like to put it so that the part that I want to bend down is up so that I can hammer on it and hammer that down into shape. But I'll put that hardwood floor under it to give it some stability while I hammer. So this is what it looks like now. You can see how much bowed up that is from the board right through here. So I will hammer on this with the sound off because it gets quite loud. That literally just took maybe 10 taps with my hammer. Now I start out the ways, tap gentle, 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 and then a little harder till you get that where you want it. But now that gap is exactly even along there. It looks so much better. Let's take a look at the other side. That's going to take just a little bit also. And then I think this front edge too, I think is going to need a little bit. So I'll give it a few taps also. That's a lot better, and that came out really well. Now on this particular house you want to be a little careful because it's got these plastic corners on it, and so I wanted to make sure I didn't hit, because that was bearing the weight or the force there on that hardwood, and I didn't want to hit so hard that I would crack those plastic corners. Most houses don't have that, but this one does, and I was careful and it did not damage those at all. The other thing to point out is I always like to hammer, when possible, right on the rolled edge rather than out here in the middle of the floor. If you hammer out here, you're more likely to get some dings in the floor that will show. So I always like to hammer ideally along that rolled edge, which I've never yet actually dented that rolled edge, but I've been able to get stuff straightened back into shape. One more thing before we're done tonight is I wanted to point out that this rust is where these walls hooked on, and I always imagine this is what would happen if you spray like cleaning liquid or water right into your dollhouse, and that water can get back under those walls, and then it can sit back there and make rust. And I would just almost bet that's what's happened here, because there's no rust anywhere else. It's always right where that metal joined that metal. So at some point, what moisture has gotten back in there, whether they were doing cleaning or whether, maybe some little girl in her play activity spilled water in there or something. At any rate, be very careful about getting water in your doll houses. I like to spray my liquids on a rag and then wash them off, whether the house is in pieces or whether it's assembled. When I wash it, I avoid spraying liquid straight into the house. You can see this is quite a little bit of pretty heavy rust along there. I can feel it with my finger. It won't hurt the end product. I'm really glad it won't, but just be very, very careful about that. I got all the touch-up done on the other pieces, mainly a little bit of dollhouse white here and there, a little bit of dabs here and there. So we're down to this big piece, which is where most of the damage is. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and then you can just sit back and watch me do it. First, I'm going to sand these areas that are quite rough to the touch. Now, if they're not real rough to the touch, I won't touch them. But most of these are kind of rough. Now, I use a fine grit sandpaper, 180 grit. And I fold it into a little piece. In fact, I'll even wrap it around my finger to just target and push right there at the end of my fingertip and just try to sand right in on those rough areas and avoid sanding out here where there's no damage. After I do that, I'm going to wipe it off with rubbing alcohol on a paper towel. I'll wipe all that. There'll be like a rust powder left, and I'll wipe all that off. And I won't wipe down here with that same paper towel because I don't want to scratch with those rust filings that are left. Then I'm just going to go over all of this with a dollhouse white and off-white and fill all those in, and then we'll see how that looks. that may be all I need to do, because these spots are going to be under where the walls actually join. So other than maybe right here on the very edge, that might need to have a little color correction. And up here, there's a little bit of damage out in the middle of the floor. So I may have to do a little dollhouse white and a little bit of like pink and a little bit of green, pale green. But even when I get that dollhouse white on there, that is going to look so much better. So I'll just go ahead and get that done, and then we'll come back together before I add any color to this.